When you're teaching literary elements, I think it's important to start small. I just start out with what is the title, who is the author, what's the genre, and then we move to setting. I have to be honest that I didn't start using so many literary elements until I started working with our English language arts teacher here. The first year of our school, so about 3 years ago, in my beginner class, that third period when I do the literature, I was fortunate enough to have the English language arts teacher push in with me, and we worked together. And he came in not knowing very much about English language learners, and he wanted to do all this big stuff with them. Wow, we're reading Sinbad the Sailor. Hey, Michelle, look, there's a lot of similes in here. I think we should teach about similes. And I would say, Sean, I don't know about that. I don't know if they can handle it. No, let's do it. I'm going to go home and I'm going to pick them out and I'll lead the class. I'll lead that lesson. And he did. And I couldn't believe how they caught on. And it was just a very small thing. I think that I may not have taken that risk if I didn't have the English language arts teacher in the classroom with me, because as an ESL teacher, you're always sort of making sure that the students understand everything that you're doing. And I was maybe a little bit afraid to push them, but from that, I took his suggestion and we just flew with it. From that point on, we could do simile in any story. The next story that we read was Robin Hood, and it was a great time to introduce plot. He wanted to talk about protagonist and antagonist, so we did. We talked about conflict. It's impossible to do them all, but you can introduce 1 or 2 literary elements for each story, sometimes 3 or 4, and build upon them as you read more literature. Deciding which literary elements to do with which level can be tricky, and sometimes it's a little bit trial and error. You look at the piece of literature and you say which ones stand out. We read Frankenstein, and in Frankenstein, irony was the big literary element that was new that I wanted them to understand. I wanted my students to know that lightning plays a role in this story, and lightning gives a good example of irony because Victor Frankenstein uses lightning to create life, and then in the end, lightning destroys both he and the monster.